too many people get caught bumping uglies in public, and they end up with a indecency charge against their name. In today's video, we're going to talk about the benefits of raunchy public fun, and more importantly, I'm going to teach you the secrets to enjoying it, getting the most out of it, and doing it with a degree of privacy while still keeping things exciting for you and your partner. So let's get stuck into it. My name is Stirling Cooper, award-winning adult film star, former high-class male companion, former swinger lifestyler, and this is my YouTube channel. Now, a large part of the reason that relationships sort of fizzle out a bit, they get boring, the sex gets predictable, the sex gets lame, is because exactly that. The sex life is predictable. It's not spontaneous, it's not passionate anymore. And so, for a lot of people, I kind of recommend public sex as a way of spicing things up a little bit, getting that more risky, experimental, adventurous side of your sex life fired up again, like it was at the beginning of your relationship, or the beginning of most relationships, especially most relationships when we're kind of in our youth, when we're, 18, 19, whatever, bouncing around being completely degenerates. Typically, people that age, at least I know when I was that age, didn't really give a shit about getting caught in public, and so you took more risks. However, as an adult now, a more mature adult, a more intelligent adult, I'd like to think, I know a thing or two, and I know that the risks that come with any kind of public sexual activity. In particular, especially in the United States, you get caught, bumping uglies, doing things like that in public, you get a charge of indecent exposure, you are a sex offender, shit is real, this shit is bad, this is not something you want on your name. So we're going to talk about a few different things today. We're going to talk about what you can do to spice up your love life and ways you can incorporate public sex, but do it in a safer way, in a way that's less risky for you and your partner, and but it's also still fun for the two of you. So let's go. So getting your rocks off, I'm going to reiterate this again, is not worth catching a criminal charge. So anybody watching this video, please be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of where people are, where people might be coming from. In particular, you do not want to be engaging in any of these kinds of activities if there's any chance of a minor being anywhere near you, anywhere around, or anywhere able to see you from anywhere around. So consider all these factors before you even start engaging in these kind of activities. This should be sort of part of your preparation prior to initiating some kind of public sex with your girl. I want you to make sure that neither your woman or you are going to go and catch an indecent exposure charge, a public nudity charge, no matter where you are around the world. That is not a great thing to have on your name. Criminal charges are fucking serious, and I don't want you guys to, get in the shit just because you wanted to spice things up a little bit in your love life. So that is the first thing I need you guys to understand and really ingrain into your head is be aware of your surroundings, situational awareness, be aware of where people can come from, what people can and cannot see if you're engaging in certain things. And be aware of how you could protect yourself from being seen and protect yourself from being discovered and protect others from actually seeing you. Because, people don't want to see others fornicating about in public. That's why they have the internet and pornography for. So they engage in that when they want to. So you're not forcing this on anybody else. You're not forcing, your lifestyle. You're not forcing your fun onto the lives of others. That's not what we're trying to do. You're trying to engage and have fun with you and your partner in your own kind of private way, but with a little bit of extra risk attached to it, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of adventure attached to it. But you as the guy are going to realistically mitigate that risk and that excitement, that danger, the real danger and the real risk, by using your goddamn brain, thinking about things in advance. Whereas she isn't even aware that you've kind of pre-thought this stuff out. And so she thinks it's just as exciting, and so she's going along with the ride, and it's just as big of an emotional experience for her as it would be if it were a risky event. But you're going to make sure it's not, and you're going to mitigate that risk by pre-planning. So let's travel back in time to when we were randy teenagers and we all banged in the car. Now, this might not seem like something that an adult should be doing, but I am of the opinion that, again, adding some spontaneity to your sex life is a good thing, especially in long-term relationships. So, making the most of the relative secluded nature of a car whilst it simultaneously being in a public spot is a way of spicing things up a bit. So, engaging in sex in a secluded parking lot, maybe a parking lot that overlooks a nice, beautiful view, maybe a parking lot, you know, somewhere out in nature, anywhere where basically people aren't walking up right next to your car and being able to see right in. Doing this at nighttime is another really easy way of getting around this, or having tinted windows is another way of easily getting around this. So, getting around the idea of anyone else being able to see what you're doing. In the UK, this is referred to as dogging. This is actually a very, very common kind of swingers practice in the UK, dogging, where people go to well-known car parks and they all get jiggy in the car, or like kind of they open the doors and people get jiggy simultaneously. It's a swinging thing. So that's dogging. That's not kind of what I'm referring to. If you're into that, go right ahead and enjoy yourself. But if you want to just engage in sort of private activity with your woman, then finding secluded places to drive with the car so that you're kind of still in nature a little bit, you're still out in public to a degree, but again, you've mitigated that risk by either it's nighttime, the windows are tinted, and or it's secluded, or some combination of all these elements. Now, sand dunes at a secluded beach. This is another great location to pull this sort of thing off. Now, where I'm from, in Australia, it's extremely easy to find a secluded patch of beach and find a sand dune and get down to business. Obviously, lay down a towel. No one wants to get sand in their vagina. You don't want to get sand in your junk or your, heaven forbid, your foreskin. Ugh, that'd be horrible. Anyway, but word of caution: avoid nudist beaches. Unless you're an exhibitionist and unless you kind of want people to watch you. In that case, nudist beaches are actually kind of where you would want to go. You can find certain parts of nudist beaches. It's very, very common for people to kind of engage in sexual activities on nudist beaches in the sand dunes that are further away from the main beach, in an area that people on the nearby roads and footpaths and things can't see. So sand dunes kind of make this nice little hidden divot spot where people can't really see you unless they come up over the top of the sand dune and look down, right? And then you've got bushes and things to hide behind and whatever. So sand dunes on secluded beaches are a good place to go, because you can go to the beach, have some fun, skinny dip, that's also a fun, exciting thing to do together, and then take things back to the sand dunes to get raunchy. Don't do it out on the beach where everyone can see. Again, we're going to try and avoid public nudity charges. We don't want this bullshit. And the best country in the world to do this, I'm going to be honest, is Australia. Like, there's just beaches everywhere, endless beach. So if you don't happen to live in a country like Australia, there's beaches are a bit harder to find, then you might want to try and track down some nudist beaches and go there on a day that is not a busy day, if you want to get a little bit more privacy to do this sort of thing. The next place I'm going to suggest is long nature hiking trails. Now, I was a big fan of this back when I was a teenager, because I had a big national forest that opened up onto my home. So at that time, I would take my girlfriend, we'd go on walks, we'd go on hikes, and then I'd bend her over up against a tree or sit down on a rock and we'd have at it. Now, it's good to know, like, if you're going to do it in a park that you are familiar with, that's even better, because you kind of know where everyone can come from, you know how often people go there, you know like where you can hide from, you know what trees you can hide behind, you know what you can kind of see from the footpath. These are all really good things to consider. Or if you're going on a big hiking trip, you're going somewhere that's a bit more well frequented by other people, hiking trails, this sort of stuff, it's typically a good idea to go off the beaten track, behind trees, behind boulders, and not make too much noise whilst you're doing it. That adds to like the excitement part. You know, she's gonna kind of keep quiet while still enjoying herself. That's, you know, a tease in and of itself. But part of not getting caught in sex, is not getting caught having sex in public, is not making too much noise whilst you're having sex in public. So that's a whole other element you've got to pay attention to. Now, the next place I'm going to suggest is something I kind of discovered when I was living in my first apartment back in Perth in Western Australia. We used to have this balcony, and we're only one story up, but we had a balcony that you couldn't see through. It wasn't you know, it was a solid surface. You couldn't, from the ground, you couldn't see anything really below sort of like rib level, right? So what that provided us was a really good place to kind of engage in some public sex without anyone being able to tell that we were doing it. So a balcony that is sort of blocked off and you can't see onto from either below or above or from the same level, that's very important too, because if you have an apartment and it's got a balcony, chances are other people can see it. But if you can situate furniture, block off, you know, so block off what people can see from like the rib level down, right? Then you can bend your woman over the balcony. She can put her rest her arms on the balcony, lift the skirt up, and fuck her from behind, and no one can see what the hell's going on. So you can kind of, again, it adds another element of, you know, adventure. It adds an element of conspiracy. It's you and her, and no one else knows. It's naughty. It's secret. It's special. And so you can have sex on a balcony as long as no one else can see what's going on downstairs, and they can't really see the motion of your hips either. I mean, you can kind of make sure they can see a little bit. If you're going at it kind of vigorously, they're going to see a little bit. But, and again, keeping the sound down, that's another kind of element of this, is sort of keeping it so that she doesn't make too much noise, doesn't draw too much attention. That adds another layer of sort of excitement, another element of teasing to this whole sexual encounter. But balconies where people can't really tell what you're doing are great places for engaging in public sex, and she can go down and give you a BJ, or you can go down and eat her pussy, and no one is going to be able to tell what the hell's going on. Now, public sex can be, you know, a bit of an anxiety-inducing event for some dudes, can create a little bit of performance anxiety. So, check out this video right here and learn how to de-stress your lovemaking today.